Welcome, Carm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here. It's Carm Capriato. So appreciate your support as always. Hey, look, I want to thank you so much for hanging out there. And you know, there's so many things that we are involved with as a podcast, you know, from Toastmasters to Breaks for Breast. You know, we all know someone who's been affected by breast cancer. Now, did you know that our aftermarket service repair industry has got an initiative started by two shop owners? It's Breaks for Breasts, which has so far raised $1.8 million for a vaccine for triple negative breast cancer. 100% of the money, every penny donated, goes directly to research at the Cleveland Clinic. Now, we need your help and involvement as the vaccine is in clinical trials. Please go to breaksforbreast.com and enroll your shop in this incredible cause. I will appreciate it. My guest here today, Darren Mclea. Hi, Darren.
Hey, Carm, how are you?
I was great. You've been on a while back, way back when you had your shop. It's got to be before 2020, I think.
Yeah, I think 2017, 2018, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you were. We started in 2015. I had you on. It was a great episode. And you've kind of moved on to a certain point in your life where you sold your shops to AAA, in fact.
Yeah. That was back in November 2020. Sold our 5 locations in Northern California, our 2 large truck commercial locations. And yeah, so it's a little bit, this is the second chapter of my life now.
The second chapter, DMJ Solutions.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that company. You're a trainer, right?
Yeah, basically, I think I have 2 passions and love in life. One was the automotive industry and tires. We're going to talk about tires today, but also even at a young age, I always wanted to be a teacher. So I really enjoyed the training aspect and just teaching people skill sets and watching their talent push that forward and grow in our own business. I really took a emphasis in training in our business, and I've enjoyed doing it for other companies too. And so now that's what I'm doing. I'm teaching people how to sell tires and help customers.
So cool. I've done shows on tires before, and I've been in actual open discussions with a group of shop owners that I want to do tires, and I love tires, and I sell a few tires. And I can't imagine, because, and maybe not a lot of people know this about me, but back in the day, in my distribution day with the family, we were a Goodyear distributor. We had thousands of tires in these big warehouses. And I'll never forget, as a kid, unloading the tires. Dad would always say, "What are you doing after school?" And I'd have to get to the operation, and I'd have to help. It was LTL, Lions Truck Lines or something like that, full of a whole truckload of tires coming out. And one of the things, Darren, that happened to me over time is to learn and appreciate the smell of these tires sitting in the warehouse.
Totally.
What a distinct smell. I mean, it was to the point where I don't know, I got to go back in the warehouse and smell.
Isn't that, it's such a strong, like, I don't know, is it a sense memory or whatever that is? We could look it up, but you smell something, it might take you back in time 10 years and you'll remember where you were, what you like, the smell of the beach, that type of stuff. But for us, it's the smell of tires is like, I'm home. Like, that's what that is to me.
How about aromatherapy? I mean, maybe, I know we can come up with a special product line, tire aromatherapy. What would be your first scent?
We could start with all season. Or if you want to get specific, get a little citrusy with like a ultra high performance summer scent.
Imagine walking in. You could do this in your garage, the man cave.
Yeah.
What about
mud terrain?
The mud terrain aromatherapy, the tires. And then, of course, coming up here, the EV scent.
Yeah. Electrify your atmosphere with some aromatherapy.
Oh my God, stop it.
Tires.
You're already coming up with a subtopic.
Maybe even a cologne, it's the scent of a tire, something like that.
The high performance summer tire. Oh my, this is wild to even come up with a thought like this.
You never know. You never know. There's always a possibility.
So people need to be selling tires today. And I guess when you bump into people that aren't, obviously you get your soapbox up and explain the
For
whys and
sure.
the hows and the who's and the connections and it's like you look at these customers as loyal customers, but if you're not selling them tires, they can't be loyal.
I mean, they can to a point, but they are going somewhere else with those tires. They're getting someone else's point of sale system. They're ending up in their CRM system, and they may do the same repairs that you do. And I mean, every time you let them go somewhere else for tires, you're allowing them, I mean, essentially up for grabs, and you get to recompete for them all over again.
Are
And
there
that's
tire stores that aren't doing mechanical work? I mean, I get there's a degree of it. I get it. But
mhm.
here's a tire store with 6, 7 bays. They're not turning any work down.
Oh, for sure. I think, the percentage that we had in our business, we were probably 30 to 35% tires. So when people picture like, there's Darren Mclea, he's that tire guy. Yeah, about 30 to 35% of our overall sales was tires. But the other, 65 to 70%, that's brake and mechanical repair. That's doing engine diagnostics. We were doing maintenance, spark plugs, your fluid exchanges. That's really where all the gross profit came from. And we wanted to have the whole package available for our customers.
I'll bet you that if you are at a seminar and you're sitting next to a shop owner that's not doing tires and you say, "Hey, listen, I got a yellow pad here. Give me about 5 minutes. Let me write some numbers down for you. Let me explain to you seriously how tires need to be here in your business. I don't want to make that kind of margin on it." And you probably could convince them, probably within
Yeah.
about 8 minutes, how the
I'd have
numbers.
fun.
Okay, go
I'd have
ahead.
fun. I'd have fun. Like already I'm ready to go. Like I'll have
Walk
fun
me through
doing it
this. All right,
too.
walk me through this. Tell
You
tell me
know,
what I'm
uh,
missing.
I do it with owners that are, as they're kind of dabbling in tires and they're thinking about it. But I like to get it down to the service advisors too, to really get them to think of it in a certain way. I would actually take like a flip chart and I would just draw a line right down the center. And I would just ask them, okay, I'd write at the top, LOF, oil change. And I write on the other side, tires. I say, okay, let's run through an oil change here real quick. What do we charge for an oil change? And different prices come out, $39.95, $89.95, full synthetic or whatever. We write it down. We write what it is. I say, okay, how long does it take to do that service with your inspection? And the reason we're doing these oil changes is to get a vehicle in so we can inspect it, see what it needs, and sell them their additional needs and capture them as a customer. That's the point of marketing oil changes. How long does it take? Typically an hour. Okay, general service technician does it. It's in the bay for an hour. That's going to be their, the inspection goes through. What's the gross profit that we pull on this oil change for that hour in the bay? And they joke, we lose $20, or I hear $10, or I hear $8. And it's like, okay, so if all we're focusing on is the margins when we're looking at what we're going to sell and offer people, why would we be doing oil changes? We know because we want car counts coming through for inspections. So on the other side, I say, okay, we're going to sell a set of tires. Even if we have to price match and sell the tires at our cost, so we don't make a nickel on the tires. Now, this isn't what I want us to do, but if we had to, a very skinny deal, what do we charge to install them? I hear $100, I hear $150, $120. Let's call it 120. So I write gross profit, $120. How long in the bay to do these tires? It's about an hour. The same technician doing the same inspection for that hour in the bay. Okay, so a car came through, we made $8 in gross profit, or the same car came through, we made $120 in gross profit. And with that came opportunity for alignment, maybe some road hazard protection, nitrogen, whatever else we have for the same hour, for the same person. And whether the oil change car needed brakes or the car that came in for tires needed brakes, we can sell brakes to either one.
Mhm.
And then from there, how much loyalty is attached to that tire deal for the next 3 to 5 years, for the free rotations, for the services, for the flat repairs? How much loyalty came with that $10 off coupon oil change? 6 months from now, they're looking for the next coupon, they're up for grabs. So why would we allow someone to come and ask us for a price on tires and just kind of be apathetic to selling them tires? But we sure make sure we book oil changes. And I can see the gears turning and they start to think, so I make as much money in gross profit on one tire deal that I make on 10 oil changes. Now with that would come more inspections, but if it's a 10-hour day, you can pump the same 10 cars through and sell them tires and lock them in with loyalty, or you can book oil changes in that spot. And that's how I kind of start that conversation. It starts to go, all right. And I see them look to the side. They go, does that balancer over there work? Can we plug it in? Like that's been sitting there and it holds the pizza
Mhm.
box for the shop. And all of a sudden it's like, all right, he might be on to something. So that's kind of where that conversation starts when I want to hear a little enthusiasm. Like, yeah, I might think about doing tires. Okay. He's got a point. And we just go from there, and then it continues to grow. And then we talk about, why are we selling tires?
Yeah, but I got to buy a road force balancer, don't I?
Oh, no, you don't. No.
See, okay.
My,
I have my alignment machine is so old. I've had it here forever. I got to update that too.
I mean, that's probably a good idea, but if you're
Yeah.
doing repairs and front end work, you should probably have a good alignment machine already.
You are. And to me, having an alignment machine and not selling tires would be a huge gap in a strategy.
For sure.
And well, I got to stock tires. No, you don't. Some you can get consigned, but if not, finding out a ton about tire distributors, they got 2-3, deliveries a day.
And you could get, like where we were at, I had 5 to 7, depending on the given time or the year, 5 to 7 distributors that I ordered from regularly. And most of them were doing twice day deliveries.
Yeah.
And I'm talking, what is that? Is that 15 deliveries I can get a day? So really, especially in certain markets, our market, it was very appointment based out here in California. That's how it was. So many different SKUs. It's hard to have them in stock anyway. So ordering them and setting them up for 2-3 hours from now it's not as big of a problem as you think until you get
Darren,
into it and you realize it's okay.
when I think of the time-bound person today, the family that has a million things going on, the 2-income households, lots of responsibilities. I got to go here for the service, here for tires, here for oil changes, here. No. And if we're not doing in our value prop to the client and saying, Mr. or Mrs. Smith, when you leave here, I just want to have 1 minute to remind you why you continue to come here, is we do it all. You don't have to go anywhere else for anything for your vehicle. We do it all. And that includes tires and maintenance and oil change and inspections. We're going to make this vehicle really live a long life if you choose. And we're going to make sure it's safe and reliable. And that includes the tires that are on it.
Yeah. It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. Why
That's the
wouldn't we be
goal.
doing, to me, if there was a strategic plan for any shop that doesn't have tires, I would say that in 2024, and there's still time, you got one back half of the year to come up here, let's get in the tire business. Now, is there a special way to learn how to sell tires? Will distributors come in and help you? Will they teach you all the product knowledge that you need? Because maybe part of the reason they're not into tires is my service people at the counter have to do this. They have to learn all this. And
Sure.
I've also spoke to shop owners that say, listen, one of my service advisors is really good with tires. And that's the person who closes all the tire deals. And
Yeah.
that person is constantly in training for that.
Yep. I've seen that process work, especially if it's new. You have someone who may have some history of selling tires. That might be your go-to. Someone calls in, needs a price on tires, or, I mean, a lot of these vehicles that are in your shop right now for other services, if you just looked at the tires and took an interest, there's a lot of vehicles that need tires that are in your shops right now. You don't have to start marketing tires. They're in your shop right now. You just have to include that in your inspection process and get there's a little bit of training for sure, but I think there's the mindset that has to go with it. Because I believe that most of us, if we want something to happen and we push for it hard enough, we can figure it out as we go. Now, you definitely need training, but if the mindset is, I am going to make sure that I sell this person tires and I'm going to make them understand why I'm a great option for buying their tires and everything else, that mindset can push you through a good amount. You got to have that positivity and that powerful mindset going forward. But then you got to learn some tips and some tricks along the way for sure.
Darren, does the client, the shopper for tires, say they know they need tires, do they do research like they would if they're going to go out and buy a washing machine?
I like that you touch on the washing machine, because that is how I like to compare a customer shopping for tires is like me shopping for a washing machine and dryer. Like, here's the thing. We know we're supposed to have an opinion. We know there's different prices, there's different features. But like for me with a washing machine and dryer, I don't know a lot about them. I get marketed all the time. I see there's Kenmore, there's Whirlpool, there's Samsung, cool blinking LED lights, Q power technology, whatever that is. But I don't know why this set is $1,000 and this is 2,000 and this is 3,000. I just know I want the $1,000 set and my wife probably wants the $3,000 set, but I don't know why. And customers with tires is the same thing. They know they're supposed to have an opinion. It gets marketed to them all the time. You can't watch baseball without seeing different ads in the background, or anytime you're watching TV, you see new technology in this. It's like the one part on a car where they feel like, okay, I'm supposed to have an opinion about this. I'm supposed to be involved. but I don't really know what I'm looking for or what I'm even supposed to ask. So I just call in and say, can you give me a price on tires? And then you just start giving me info, and then I'm supposed to go back and somehow Google search it and make sense of this. And I hope I pick the right ones. And that's some of the angst I think that's coming
I
with the
didn't know there
consumer as
was
they
a
call you.
choice. What do you mean pick the right ones?
Sure there is. And I think a lot of customers know. If you think about it, if I'm going to sell you a fuel pump, hey, Carm, we got it diagnosed. You need the fuel pump. It's the fuel pump, right? Or you need the alternator. How often does a customer ask us as a service advisor, what brand of fuel pump is that? And what's the liter per hour flow rate on that bad boy that's going to my '06 Tahoe? Nobody asks that.
Right, right.
But when it's tires, hey, you need tires, they're going to be $800. They'll typically ask, what kind of tires are those? And whether they know about them or not, that's still part of the discussion. You have to work them through. You have to educate your customer when you're selling them tires, but really you're selling yourself first. And then it doesn't really matter to me what tires you pick. I just want to make sure you buy them from me. That's the idea. Because I want you to be my customer for life.
Hey, it's no secret. We're facing a technician shortage, and NAPA Auto Care has a solution with the NAPA Auto Care Apprentice Program. The program was pioneered by one of our own. Pete McNeil and Master Technician Jake Sorensen from McNeil's Auto Care in Sandy, Utah, realized that the problem of not having technicians available for hire was not going to solve itself and decided to take action and look at a different audience of individuals available for hire. A focus was put on younger individuals with the right passion, desire, and attitude to work in the automotive repair industry. Jake and Pete sought after these individuals and developed a technician apprentice program to give them the training needed to become a successful technician in today's world. The NAPA Auto Care Apprentice Program includes a comprehensive 9-stage curriculum that includes a variety of types of training, and they are classroom training videos exclusive to the apprentice program. Now, these videos provide in-depth training from a successful master technician. Also, Autotech classes with instructor-led courses offered through NAPA Autotech and Autotech e-learning. This web-based e-learning is designed to target specific training topics. And finally, hands-on learning. The apprentice will apply the skills gained from the classroom training videos, Autotech instructor-led training, and Autotech e-learnings in the shop with the guidance of a mentor. The apprentice program curriculum is competency-based, meaning an apprentice can move through each stage at a pace that best suits them. Most apprentices complete the program within 2 years. Upon completion, apprentices will have earned ASE G1, A4, A5, and AC certifications, adding industry validation to the skills an apprentice acquires. Look, having an apprentice in your shop will ultimately benefit your bottom line as they advance through the program. And in most cases, as the apprentice develops their skill set producing billable hours, you'll begin to see a growth in your gross profit by stage 5. One of the largest barriers to entry for individuals looking to enter the automotive repair industry is the cost of tools. Now, keep your apprentice motivated with an apprentice toolkit. Now, NAPA Auto Care has worked with our supplying partners to offer an exclusive comprehensive tool set, including a 4-drawer tool cart for all registered apprentices. Hey, to learn more, members can visit member.napaautocare.com. Darren, what kind of questions do consumers come in and ask about tires? Do they ask about noise? Do they ask about how many miles I'm going to get? Do they ask about the kind of ride? What do they ask?
I think there's a lot of different types of customers that come in. What I like to focus on when, I did my training with my advisors and the companies I work with now is I look for the segment that's the most common type, which is a customer calling in or coming in. First thing they're always thinking is price. They have to be somewhat budget conscious to a point. They have been marketed tread life warranties. I mean, relentlessly. 60,000 miles, 70,000 miles, 60,000 miles. So they understand that. They can understand an $800 set with a 60,000 mile warranty. That makes sense. But when the next option is another 60,000 mile warranty tire for $1,000, and the third option is a 60,000 mile warranty tire for $1,200, I think most consumers kind of go, okay, hold on a minute. 60,800, 60,000, 1,000, 60,000 is 1,200. Like, what's the real difference? So we have to educate them a little bit. I like to ask them about their driving style to make sure, one, we're getting them the right tire, but at the same time, as those tires increase in price and they increase in tier, they tend to become smoother riding. They're longer lasting. They have better wet and dry traction, and they tend to be better for the driving style that's right for that customer. But you have to let them know these are the relative things that are increasing as we go up in price, and then let them choose. Because if they got $600 and that's all they've got, Our job as a good tire salesperson or advisor is to get them the absolute best tire we can within that $600 that they can afford. That is our job as an advisor. We have to
Yeah.
help those people find what they can do.
Let's shift back to the owner. Is it the dollars or the margin on the tire that you talk to them about that they want to make? I want to
I,
make $25 a tire, or I want to make 20%. I mean, where is it going?
I think that's where their focus starts, but I try to get them to understand, let's set our install price and let's set our margins to where we think, I mean, let's do some shopping around a little bit. I'm not so concerned with what the competition is doing because I want to connect with the customer better than the competition does, but let's make sure we're in the right ballpark. And I can bring my research of what I've done and what I've used that's been successful to set our margins. But at the same time, I want them to think about, we're selling tires today so that this customer calls us back in January, February, during our slow season for that rotation or for whatever that other repair is. So it's not about the money we're making today. I mean, it is. We want to collect some money for what we're doing today for sure, sell some tires, but it's about planting that seed today so that I've got repairs for the future and further on down the road. It's almost like this is going to be a weak analogy, but it's like a form of advertising that the customer pays us for. They're buying tires from us, and then they are our customer going forward. We have them locked in. That's how I looked at it. My dad told me when we sell them tires, we've locked them in for the next 3 to 5 years for everything they need. That's our membership plan that we can sell them, is the tires.
Yeah, I mean, you made a big purchase for the week. You talked to your friends. You talked to your friends about, hey, I just unloaded my wallet and bought some tires. Where'd you get them? I got them from Darren. Oh, great, good guy, like that. And what'd you get? Well, I got some Goodyear, and they start telling you the story that you've told them, and they end up being, once they retell the story that they believe in what the product is going to do for them, no matter what it is that they pay, they usually help, in many cases, reconvince themselves that it was a great buy.
Yeah. And usually tires, when you put new tires on your vehicle and you were just driving on the bald ones that were spinning out at the corner and were rough riding and noisy, you get new ones on it. It's one of the few repairs we can do that they can actually feel the difference as they drive out of your store. Like, what a great impression to make on a customer.
It's like ride control.
For sure.
What do you see about ride control? Is there a higher correlation of more ride control? I mean, people lose their ride control over years. They don't even feel that happening. And of course, we would love to sell more ride control, and we don't. And I know that. Where did I hear this from? The percentage of cars that are in the junkyard that have the original shocks on it?
Oh,
Was
I
it
can
like
only imagine.
70% or something like that?
I would even believe it could even be higher than that. And I don't know that. I'm just guessing.
And
All
I
the
think
time it's
almost like back in the day, and I'm going back, let's go back 20, maybe 25 years, there was more ride control sold. Maybe it has to do with price, maybe it has to do with rebate, but ride control has to be sold. Tires, you need tires.
Yeah.
But is there an opportunity for ride control when the tires are needed? Say the vehicle's got 70,000 miles on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I think depending on your state and how you may be regulated on what you can recommend and why you can recommend. I mean, my thought is usually around 50, 60,000 miles for the most part, maybe longer with struts. But by the time you're replacing tires, ride control's right there. And it's at least worth a conversation. Let's remind the customer that, hey, you have shocks on this vehicle, right? Like just something to think about. We offer that here. I can remember doing the old bounce test. I'm going back years.
What do the shocks
out in the
really
park.
do? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's it's the other one where you can feel a difference. When you get a new set of shocks or struts in your vehicle and you drive away, when you hit the brakes at that first stoplight, you realize, oh, I'm not leaning forward and back as much. Like there's less sway in the vehicle. I feel like I'm connected to the road. But the thing with ride control is it's a slow deterioration in quality. So you don't notice it. If your shocks were good, and suddenly they went down to 20% life, you would be like, whoa, what is going on with my car? So it lends itself to that. It's another thing that it wears out over time, and it goes hand in hand with alignments too.
Let's go back and do the math again. There's a dollar amount or a margin amount, and anyone once they do the research can figure out where they want to be, and then what else? I mean, we're charging for mounting and balancing. Are we doing any road hazard stuff? Talk to me some more about the numbers.
Oh yeah, I mean, so you have a built-in opportunity to recommend an alignment, which obviously whatever you charge for alignment, it just goes hand in hand with tires. Some people like to say every 12, 15,000 miles is a good spot to do alignments. How many of our customers are calling us once a year to say, hey, I'm just calling for my annual alignment?
Yeah.
Typically doesn't happen.
No.
Tires are the great spot. Like, hey, we're putting fresh tires on. Let's make sure the alignment angles are great. We don't wear these tires out prematurely. We all understand that. But then road hazard too. I mean, I like to have that as an offering, and I'm 50-50 like with the customer. If they want it, great. If they don't want it, that's perfectly fine. Some people don't want to buy the extended warranty on their washer and dryer. I totally understand, but it's a great offering, again, to give the customer some extra assurance and basically some insurance on that tire. So, hey, whether it's a 3-year or a 5-year plan, any issue you have with this tire over the next 3 years, you come back and see me, it's taken care of. I got you.
What are people typically charging for road hazard?
It depends on the shop. I usually hear about 10% the price of the tire. We did 15% of the price of the tire. And I think it's, everybody's a little bit different. I think there's probably some measurements that you can run that if you did 15%, you may not sell as much. And if you did 10, you might sell more, but the dollars might be the same. So there's probably an argument for the lower price point. So we make sure we sell more of it, more units to customers. So we make sure we're retaining more. I could see that argument. But at the same time, the price of tires these days, some owners say, if I'm going to eat a $425 run flat, I'm going to make sure I get 15% of that up front times 4, because you're selling 4 tires to be ready for that possible, what is it? Pay back out. Yeah.
But you have to be seriously in the tire business. You're really building an insurance bank, if you will.
Mhm.
And 10 or 15%. How many tires do you have to consider selling a month over the course of a year to make sure that insurance that you're collecting on the road hazard really doesn't kill you?
Well, I've thought about that. And I think if you don't sell a whole lot of road hazards, your exposure is very, very low. So I think even if you sell more tires and you sell more road hazard, I think the exposure coming back, you've collected that amount of dollars for that amount of tires for
What do
however
you
many
think
road hazards you've.
but what do you think I gotta sell? 8 tires a day? I mean, how many per week would you think a great shop that would have tires would consume 20 to 30% of their business? What do they got? Like in anything, I just bought a brand new piece of equipment. We need an
Mhm.
ROI. Let's be sure that this piece of equipment is being utilized. That we know our clients need services on that equipment that we purchased. In the
Mhm.
same case is that we've invested in tires to a point where we've done the training. We've got a few in stock. And what would a typical shop be looking for as far as maybe even a monthly? What would the monthly number of tires you would expect? Okay, I just hired you to be my tire coach trainer.
Mhm.
What's I go, Darren, how many what should I set my I've got 4 bays, 3 technicians, 1.5 service advisors. How many tires should I sell a month?
I think it depends on your car count and your market share, but I mean, I would want to see us get to 200, 300, 400 tires pretty quickly. And then I would want to see us sell at road hazard on at least 50% of those. That would be
Okay.
the goal that we would set to start.
Okay.
And, some of that is just from adapting the way that I've sold road hazard over time. I can remember going to a 20 group meeting years ago, and I was really frustrated that we were only selling about 25% of the 25 of the tires we sold. About 25% of them were buying road hazard. And I would hear the others in the group just say things like, oh yeah, we're 45, 50, 60%. And I'm like, I know we're good at what we do. What am I missing? And I had to change the program a little bit. I was doing this whole prorated thing, hard for consumers to understand. They said, Darren, just cover the tire 100% for 3 years. Trust us. And at first I'm like, whoa, I'm going to be eating a lot of tires. And I went back and did it. And man, I doubled and then tripled the amount of money I was pulling on road hazards in the first year just by that small change. 3 years, cover the tire 100%. I don't know what the average going rate is. I think it's like between 8 to 13% of the tires you sell with road hazard will come back and need to be replaced. I kind of ran those numbers and said, okay, let's put it at 15%. Let's cover it full replacement for 3 years. So on my shops that were selling 500 to 600 tires a month, I want to see 250 to 300 road hazards out of that store. Minimum. That's where we got to be.
It's insurance. Now, if insurance companies weren't making money, they wouldn't be around, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
You're selling insurance. Okay. Your company, you are a sales coach. You help people get in the tire business. Do you stick around a long time? Do I hire you for, so many months? How did you create your company? What is it? How do you implement it?
I stick around for as long as you can stand me, Carm. That's
Ah,
the deal. As long as you can stand me, I stick around. No,
all
it's
right.
so what we do is I like to work directly with these service advisors. And some of the companies I work with, I'm an outside company, but they look at me as almost like their third party director of training,
Okay.
especially when it comes to tires. So the ones that I start working with, they come to me and their initial, I'd call it a worry. They've been in the tire industry for a long time. They do mechanical repairs, but they've watched year over year their tire unit numbers have decreased and decreased and decreased. And I hear that a lot, and it alarms me to a point. And what I hear them say is, yeah, but I am making more money selling fewer tires. And I say, okay, that's great. But if you're selling less tires, you're retaining less customers going forward. And my worry is the foundation of our customers, long-term customers, is it eroding over time because of competition and whatever it is, buying new vehicles. We got to get razor sharp on the tire sales. So I start with, like I said, the mindset. And I know from mystery shopping and listening to a lot of phone calls, I hear the phone calls when a customer calls in and says, I need a price on tires. And I hear the process that has worked. And it feels like until I start working with them, or if they don't have an approach, everybody's just winging it. It starts off with, do you know your tire size? And it's a grueling process for the consumer who doesn't want to deal with this anyway. And when
Mhm.
we just sound like we're indifferent to selling you tires or not, it makes it even worse. When I need tires, I wake up in the morning, I'm excited that I'm going to shop for tires, but I'm a rare bird when it
Yeah,
comes to
you
that.
are.
Most customers, they don't wake up and want to buy tires. So
It's as bad as a root canal.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But I like to make even the service advisors and the people working in the stores every day understand why we're selling tires. It's to help grow the business, but also your personal line of business as an individual service writer. If you can sell someone tires, they become your customer as an individual, and they'll come back to you when they need brakes. So that's how you grow your personal line of business as an advisor inside the business, whoever you work for. And I like to start there, and I like to relate to these service advisors because I was there. I did it for so long, and I still love it. And I try to, insert a little passion, a little
Yeah,
confidence, and
yeah.
build up a process that they can follow just to make it easier on them.
Got it. DJMSolutions.net. Now, I'm listening to this podcast and I'm saying, Darren's right. We have to get into the tire business. Now, I, as the CEO of my business, could just bam, hire you. You come in, freight train, or hey, listen, guys, let's do a meeting. I got some ideas. We want some new equipment, blah, blah, blah. But I want to get into the tire business. What's all your thoughts? Find out who's interested, willing to buy in, realizing, my boss, we're missing some steps here. We should be selling more tires. You may have people in the shop saying, hire a tire specialist for
Mhm.
us to work this whole thing, especially if we're going to get hot and heavy in it. Is that a recommendation? Is that how you would start? Or if the person's toying with the fact that I got to get back into the tire business, let me get the buy-in from my people first, and then maybe give you a call and say, how can we work together? Give me a process of an individual who says, I got to get into the tire business.
I think the best thing to do is I like to have a conversation with that person first. And I
Okay.
know it can be called like a discovery call or whatever it is,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I just like to have a conversation to get an idea how serious truly are you about getting into the tire industry? Is this something you want to do because you want to grow your business? Or do we want to do it so that when we meet at the next 20 group meeting, we tell everybody yep, I followed through. I'm selling tires now. I like to check a box. Like, do we really want to push this and make it happen? But I do find usually when I start working with a company, just like you said, there's a couple people there that have done this in the past and they've seen it work. So you may have that person in your company already. And if that's the case, maybe you only need me for 6 months to get this off the ground, to get it going. And that becomes kind of your, my dad would call them cheerleaders. Who's our cheerleader on this process? Who's going to be there pumping everybody up, getting us going, pushing the positivity? and I'll just give you a process to get it going, and then you guys keep it going. And then I can sit back and say, you guys did it. You're selling tires. Your customers love you. Boom, there you go.
I love it. One of your core values that you bring to people is never, ever lose a tire deal, period. I love
That's
that.
right. My dad used to say that to me. I probably sang that to me when I was 8 years old to put me to sleep every night. Never ever lose a tire deal, period. I don't know, but like I can see him
It's a
running
golden book.
meetings. Yeah, I could see him running meetings, and he was that serious. He would tell us, "Look, everybody, we don't ever lose a tire deal, period. I don't care if we got to sell it. I don't care if we got to lose $20 a tire. If we do, let me know." But the fact is, that was never the case. I don't think we ever had a tire deal where we lost money. We like to throw that up, like, what if we're going to lose money and this and that? But I just tell everybody, go for it. And if
Well,
you do lose money, let me know and we'll adapt. But it typically doesn't happen.
it seems to me that even in the beginning, if you were willing to lose a couple of dollars in order to get a tire sale going, and the inertia of tire sales was so strong in the business that loss factor goes away
Totally.
because there's energy in the business. There's positivity from the salespeople. You're generating a one-stop shop to your customers. They're loving what you're doing. They appreciate your tires. And the next time they come in and they drop the keys, do my tires.
Yep. That's what it's all about. And really, if you think about it, when someone buys tires from you, they may have been shopping around, but when they bought tires from you, they picked you. You did something that made them comfortable to do business with you and give you their $600, their $1,200, or somebody, I mean, $2,000, $2,500. They
Yeah.
picked you. The tires are secondary, but they picked you and they want to come back to you for everything else.
I got this crazy thought that just went through my mind, and that's
I want to hear it.
one of my crazy problems that it goes a mile a minute and I got to slow it down. But I want to go back in the day because I've been around the horn a little bit. Everybody that we ever did business with back in the day, everybody sold tires. Everybody.
Mhm.
Even though we were also in the parts business, we were in the tire business, the bulk oil business. Everybody sold tires. And now we're in there was this gap of what happened where so many got out of tires. Where we're just looking at all the tire specialty big box stores that were floating up and said, "I'll let them do it. Oh, let
Mhm.
Valvoline do the oil change." What was the gap that put a lot of the typical strong independent service professionals, aftermarket service professionals out of the tire business? Can you point to something?
I don't know, but I've thought about this, and I have this theory that's based like in basically in my own mind. So don't
Yeah.
put any science behind this. But
All right.
I've thought about that. You know, when my grandpa started our company back in the late '70s, him and my dad and my uncle, they just sold tires just because that's what we do. We sell tires so that we have the automotive side of mechanical repair to make the money. '70s, '80s, '90s, that's what a lot of these independents did, and they built their businesses up. This is just my theory again, to such a great spot to where they're making good money. They're selling fluid exchanges. They've gotten into maintenance. They've gotten a lot sharper on the stuff that used to get away. And tires started becoming almost like this dirty word of like, that's the low gross profit stuff. And I think as younger service advisors, and not that it's an age thing, but newer to the industry have come in, they've come in while these businesses are already at a high point, but they weren't there to realize the reason that they got there was they captured so many customers through tire sales, and they're just focusing on maintenance and tires. I've heard this. Shops that used to do tires, they say, yeah, we don't do anymore. We just send it over to the competitor across the street. We have a good working relationship. I send
Oh
them
God, I
tires.
hear that all the time. Yeah. They
Oh,
send me their really tough diag stuff and we send them tires.
yeah. But what you're really doing is you're sending them the tires. And trust me, the manager of that store that has to hit their corporate goals is not going to find out that they need brakes and 120,000 mile service and send that back to your shop.
No, they're not.
They're going to go ahead and take that, and they're going to get all that gravy with that tire deal. And it's just, I hear that we got a good working relationship, but I'm like, as he's waving to you saying thank you, he's saying thanks for all the extra business from this customer and their
Yeah,
wife's car and their kid's
we sure
car.
do. Yeah, we
Yep.
appreciate that. Our CRM, our marketing people, we're taking that
Oh
payment
yeah.
from you. Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
We know how to do
That
that.
that was our thing. Never lose a tire deal, because I didn't want my customer ending up in somebody else's CRM. And then I had to compete for him later.
Yeah.
No way.
I had a blast talking to you about this. Give me some final words to move some of our non-tire people over the line.
Ah, What would
Or
I say?
let me ask a question that's been burning inside of me. These tire distributors that are out there, and there's some great ones, are they going to come in? I mean, I know you're gonna talk about the whole sales feature and the pricing thing, but are they going to come in and start teaching the brand values?
Like the actual features of
Yeah,
individual
yeah.
brands and that
I
kind of
mean,
stuff?
here's why I'm recommending this brand and this tire and this tread design, etc. I think, well, there's just too much to learn. Wait a minute, you can get all kinds of help. Do the brands that are out there? I'm a distributor. I have 5 brands. Are
Mhm.
there brand reps that will come in, or do I rely on the distributor to teach me product knowledge?
Oh, I think there's both available. So I work with some distributors out here in the local California area where I'll go to some of their, dinners or presentations, and some of the manufacturers are there, and I'll give a presentation similar to this, just
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, this is what I can do." I'm not brand specific, but there are a lot of those brands that they look at me and they say, "I like what this guy's saying because
Mhm.
it's making sense, and if I can work with him to have him and maybe push my brand a little bit, but also get these people better at selling tires,
Yeah.
I can push more units." So yeah, I work well with distributors and actual
Cool.
manufacturers
All
for
right.
sure.
So the point
Yeah.
of it is you're not coming in when you help this individual discover really good distribution partnerships. And I hear there's a lot of rebates and stuff if
Oh,
you do
man.
volume. I hear there's a lot of under the cover stuff if you become seriously in the tire business. I
Yes.
saw a presentation within the last month from a tire distributor in a different city than Buffalo, and I was really impressed with what was under the covers
Mhm.
for guys that wanted to be seriously in the tire business. It's almost like, to your point, I'll sell the tire, I'll make $10 a piece, and by the time the rebate check comes back, I've made 40 or 50.
Yeah. Oh, and I can remember before I understood it, getting towards the end of the year, all of a sudden we get huge shipments of wiper blades, or all of a sudden we'd have all this advertising going. And I'm like, what are we doing? He's like, and my dad would say, "We've got so much business development funds and everything. I have to spend this now." And he said, "We spend a lot on advertising, but we really don't spend a nickel on advertising. It's all the tires we sell, pay for it, and we make gross profit and lock customers
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
All our advertising's free."
Yeah, and I think that's a great point to understand is that when you sit down with a distributor, you're gonna find out that there's other stuff under the covers. This was great. I appreciate people wanting to be in the tire business. Thank you for coming in with your passion to talk about this. Darren Mclea, formerly shop owner, family business,
Yep.
sold the shops back in, what, 2020, and decided to you hung in there with AAA for a while, then you started
Mhm.
DJM Solutions at DJMSolutions.net. You're a tire sales consultant. How do is that the right wording?
Yeah. I mean, I do more than just tires. It's all the automotive selling and,
Yeah, okay.
out process. But I think what brings people to me is they say, "Yeah, I've lost my way when it's come to tires." And to
Got it.
hear when I tell them when that phone rang and someone said, "Hey, can I get a price on tires?" For me, time stood still. And in my mind, I just said, "You're buying them from me, whether you know it right now or not." And my people felt that way. And I want everybody else out there selling tires to think, when you call me, there's no reason, there's no excuse, there's no resource for anybody to buy tires elsewhere. And
What a
that's
great ending.
what it is. You got to have
I
that
love it.
passion, man. I love it too. Right on.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks, Carm.